WASHIGTON. I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Houston, we have a problem.
No. I'll do that. There is no trial.
Nobody can stay in the corner.
You're gonna need a bigger post.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
I'm my number one fan.
And here we go.
Good evening, moviegoers everywhere, podcast followers everywhere. This is the Cine-Men Movie Podcast, as we are in for another episode. Here with Edward.
How's it going today?
And I'm Johnny, as we set you along this ride for Fences. It is a chilly, brisk day here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
We are here December the 15th, 2018. Ed, the year's coming to a close.
Oh, don't remind me. I know. It's been too fast.
It has been an interesting ride. It's been an interesting year. This thing has taken off tremendously. I want to know how everybody's doing out there. I appreciate the comments, all the feedback we've gotten from last week's episode, which killed it.
Yeah?
I have gotten nothing but really good and a lot of praise for last week's episodes. One of the best episodes we've ever had. And it was, we're going to recap the Kings of Cinema.
Honestly, I thought that was really a great idea.
Innovative.
Definitely. Great word. Honestly, good word. Shaking things up. Taking one of our more popular segments and making a freaking entirety
Making a whole episode about it.
So, yeah, definitely a nice break from just doing a movie. For simple as that, but yeah, it was nice. It really was.
I don't find nothing was wrong with it. I enjoyed it. Everybody enjoyed it that listened to it. We got great praise back from it.
I mean, even the little addition of putting the top of our top, Leonardo DiCaprio and Will Smith for me, putting that up on the Facebook page, giving the people a little bit of what we were talking about, just a little smidge. I mean, with those two names, you should know who the hell they are, what the hell they look like.
We did have some boo-boos last week.
A little bit, yeah.
And we got called out on those. One of the bigger boo-boos was that Will Smith was not in
12 Years a Slave.
12 Years a Slave. Edward was referring to 7 pounds.
Yeah, I got the two mixed up, so sorry about that.
We all fuck up. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I just kind of got going and
got excited.
Basically. I mean, literally, some of this is. I mean, honestly, when I get on Will Smith, it's kind of a thing of the guy's been in so many different things that it just kind of got twisted a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, we get excited. I mean, come
fantastic actors, though. Honestly,
I could literally talk movies all day with you.
Definitely. It's always been kind of a big subject that we've always been able to go on. So, yeah.
It's almost like the ABCs just roll off the tip of my tongue.
Halfway, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Well, we're going to recap last week's episode, though, just in quick form. We're going to run right through these rapid fire. My top 5 last week, as far as actors go, was Daniel Day-Lewis, Tom Cruise, Denzel Washington, which leads us into today's episode.
Yes, sir.
Tom Hanks was number 2 for me, and then Leonardo DiCaprio, and Edward was his top 5.
Johnny Depp, Clint Eastwood, James Earl Jones, for that matter. Honestly, love that guy.
Unique.
Jake Gyllenhaal. And, of course, my top was Will Smith. And, of course, we had the honorable mention,
Oh, yeah, Mark Wahlberg was my honorable mention.
Yeah, one of the big men himself.
Today's episode
is all about that guy on your list.
Man. And I played last week, if you go back and listen to the archives of last week's episode, which is available on Spotify, episode 15, The Kings of Cinema. go back and listen to it, I was going through Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
And I played one small trailer. It wasn't even a trailer, it was a scene.
Yeah.
A clip scene.
Basically,
for you for Fences, and you look like it touched you.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps listening to it, and I'm like, have you seen this movie? This is one of his best performances of all time. And you were like, no, I haven't seen it.
I haven't.
And I'm like, that's what we're doing today.
Yeah, so I'm honestly, after watching it today, I'm glad you did bring it up. I'm glad you did play that one, because I mean, don't get me wrong, if that little bit that you played, if you didn't play that, we wouldn't have been doing that today. I mean, honestly, so that little 5-second idea basically turned into a whole episode next week.
I mean, it has been one of those things that Denzel Washington, no matter what movie he's in, it comes to him.
Gives people inspiration.
You feel whatever he's doing. If he's a bad guy, which he was kind of a dick, but he was a hard father.
I was about to say, I don't think he was a dick. I just a couple times, yeah, but I don't think he was a dick. I just think he was a strict father.
Growing up in the 40s or in the 50s,
yeah,
being a young African American boy, which his son was, and then Denzel being Denzel in that movie, him growing up the way he was, I mean, he wasn't hard. He was maybe a little too hard. Yeah. But in that time, in that day and age,
dog eat dog. You had to be hard. If you weren't, you got spit out.
We're jumping a little bit ahead of ourselves. I can't wait to break down this movie. We do have a guest caller later on. Yep. Somebody who enjoys the podcast, who reached out to us, reached out to me. So that is coming up a little bit later on today. He's going to give us a little bit of info. He's going to talk to us about the show, what he likes. And then I'm going to ask him, I'm going to put him on the spot. I'm going to ask him his top 5 Denzel movies.
All right.
So he better be ready.
Yeah.
Recent watches. Have you checked out anything recently?
Yeah, actually, I bought a few different movies. They're both older, so for that matter,
best ones out there.
I redid a watch for The Hunger Games, the original Hunger Games.
So good.
Actually. And
cut you off right there.
Yeah.
We talk about our recent watches, and most of them are older movies. But the best thing about talking about recent watches is right there. You said Hunger Games.
Yeah.
The Hunger Games, I don't think gets as much praise as it probably should as a movie or as a book turned into a movie. It's one of the better ones out there.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, sadly enough, the area of time it came in was perfect for it.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't perfect because, like, when Harry Potter came out, that was kind of its own entity. It wasn't competing with much back then, as in a true series that lasted more than 5, 6, 7, as it did 8 movies.
Right.
So it only competed with something after the 5th or 6th movie. Simple as that. And that's the truth. To where when Hunger Games came out, you had Divergent coming out. You had the Maze Runner coming out, I think, in the last 2 movies.
Think about those.
You had Twilight coming to an end around the beginning of it. You had a lot of different things to associate and differentiate it with.
So, what'd you, going back and, checking out, the Hunger Games, you just watched the original one?
Yeah,
yeah. Great watch. What'd you think?
Oh, I mean, honestly...
You've probably seen it before.
Oh, yeah. I've read the whole series. I still have the whole series, actually. And it's been a while since I've actually revisited reading it. But honestly, I've got to say, Jennifer Lawrence, had a huge crush on her. Still do to a bit. So, kind of with that. Beautiful girl. Woman. Whatever. But basically, it was cool to get a rewatch into it. Simply because, you notice things after you don't watch something for, say, 3-4 years. You notice things that you didn't back then. You notice differences in actions and little bits of the movie. Just even visual references, visual cues for that matter. And I don't know if you know the whole thing, but the blackberries that they were going to eat and die are called nightlock. And basically it's a poisonous berry that kills you within literally, like she says, a minute.
I think it'd be interesting
So.
to maybe we can cover some of those films in the coming year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that'd be cool. I love the series.
I think
mean,
March coming up is like the 6 or 7 year reunion.
6
years.
2012 is when the movie came out. So I think it was 2008 or 2009 when the books started.
Any other recent watches for you?
Yeah, actually I picked up the 10th anniversary of Clerks, which I know it's a lot longer than that now, but I found that, and it was kind of a impulse buy, and I like Clerks.
Was it the first time you watched it?
No, first time in a while, about 6-7 years, but I always liked Jay and Silent Bob.
But it's definitely different watching it now compared to 6-7 years ago compared to how much you know now.
Yeah, it on top of that, just how, you know, how because I didn't know much about Kevin Smith back then. I didn't think the guy was really all but, you know, Silent Bob. I thought he was just kind of another guy, you know, just got a part in a movie, and now, like, he's a fucking brilliant guy.
I mean, he is. He's very intelligent. He can write some fucking episodes.
I mean,
he's a great director.
Clerks. I mean, all of that shit is because of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a couple episodes of The Flash, I think.
Yeah,
he's a very good director, and
he's into comic books.
He's a fellow podcaster.
Yeah,
he has his own podcast. So if anybody checking him out, I would definitely check out his podcast. You can find him on Spotify, Podcast One, Westwood One, anywhere you find your pods, you can check him out.
But I mean, you know, with him, it's a lot of action, and he doesn't do much in the movie. I mean, he really doesn't, you know. But I mean, when he says something, when he breaks that Silent Bob character,
you listen.
Whole demeanor. Well, it's not if you listen or not. It's just you better listen, you know, because it's some shit. He's dropping a bomb on you. I mean, he's dropping the whole movie. It's kind of, honestly, like, I'm cutting a little bit into the future of what we're about to do on this episode and talk about, but it's like what I told you with that one line in Fences. You know, it changed the whole damn narrative of the movie for that, and we'll get into what I mean a bit later on, because I'll mark that. But I mean, better listen.
You say that, and it makes me want to. If I can find the clip before the episode is over, I'll do that. But it brings me to Chasing Amy.
Okay.
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, if anything, maybe that could be one of those movies that we revisit, because you want to talk about one of the better directing jobs that he has done.
Yeah.
Chasing Amy is phenomenal, and you'll find out why the girl that's the main girl in the movie, her name is not Amy, of course, but you'll find out. But
it's
no,
one of those weird ones. Okay.
Well, I mean, you have anything else, or?
Those two are the only kind of fresh ones that I've done. So not right now, no.
I checked out a couple of movies. I finally checked out The Nun.
Yeah. What was your take on it?
Man, I saw a lot of bad reviews for it. I saw a lot of trash reviews for it. I went into it with an open mind.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything of The Conjuring. From beginning to end, I thought it was a little bit slow.
Yeah.
But it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. It did pick up the movie. The ending tied the ends in very, very well. It made me want to go watch The Conjuring. It made me want to find out more about this story, about the guy's story. So it wasn't terrible. I really do enjoy how the ending tied the loose ends together.
Yeah.
So I didn't find it terrible. I mean, if I had to rate it, I think I gave it a 6.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm gonna say, when I watched it, I watched it at the Warren, and it's always a little darker, especially with dark-toned movies and dark visual movies. It's a little hard to see sometimes.
Well, you would think, though. You probably went in like super, super hyped about it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited for it, but then, like, you know, tried to go back and tried to let it be its own, because actually, The House with a Clock in Its Walls, the Jack Black magic film, was on before that, and that one, I've got to say, was really good. So it kind of set the bar high for a different movie coming in.
I felt the same way about The Conjuring 2.
Yeah.
I went in super hyped about The Conjuring 2.
Right.
Went and watched it, and I didn't like it the first time.
Right.
I watched it 2 or 3 times afterwards and love it.
And I mean, sometimes that's what it is.
It's one of the better modern-day horror movies to me.
Because, I mean, sometimes that's what it takes, is just, you know,
another
a couple
view.
watches.
Another view.
Yeah.
Open up your mind. Don't judge it. Just go in there and have fun with it. Watch the movie. And that's what this podcast is all about.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, don't get me wrong. You might have hated a movie back in, I don't know,
3-4 years ago.
I'll tell you, one of the movies, and I know we're not to bash movies and stuff like that, but I will tell you one of the movies I frequently will. I'm not ever going to give this another chance because I fell asleep on it 4 times in the theater, and a couple of buddies of mine will know about this out in Boston. The 5-Year Engagement.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that.
I'm so sorry. That movie took 5 years.
On another one for me would be I'm just gonna name 2 because I'm not gonna bash.
Right.
But it would be movie 43 and and the Slender Man.
I want to see Slender Man. I want to get my own take on it because I mean I know a little bit about the creepypasta and I kind of have high hopes for it, to be honest.
So did I.
Just because, like, I want to see a different genre or a different form of horror come out. Because horror, it took a 40-year, revival of Halloween to kind of kick off things a little bit.
Horror, we mentioned in earlier episodes.
Yeah.
Which is in the archives. We love horror. Horror has to have that organic feel.
On top of that, like you said, it has to have that score it has to have that score because the score kind of helps make it. I mean, it's like the Halloween, like we said in an earlier episode. A critic watched it and thought it was probably the most boring, bland horror film she'd ever seen, and then John Carpenter was like, "All right," lit a fire under his ass, basically. And gone in, did the whole score for it, and came out guns blazing. And she said it's probably the scariest film she'd ever seen in her life. So, music takes its own form with that. But
yeah, I mean, that's true. But as far as the Slender Man goes, I rated it a 4.
Right.
I didn't find it much entertaining at all.
Which, I mean, it happens.
One movie that I was kind of surprised for, and it was a cheap buy for me. You guys out there, if you have a Dollar Tree around you, I would really consider you guys... is that normal? I would consider you guys checking out the Dollar Tree. They have had some pretty decent Blu-rays in the bin.
Really? And
I picked up Paper Towns.
Oh, see... That movie, I'm surprised that's at Dollar Tree because I got to see that in theaters.
Well, it's pretty old. It's 2015.
Yeah, but I mean that's only 3 years old.
But I mean, I checked it out and it wasn't bad. It was a pretty good watch. I went in with an open mind. Usually, I kind of like those. I mean, I don't know, but to me, I kind of like those funny, romantic comedy kind of teenage movies.
Yeah.
Another one out there that I recommend is Love, Simon.
Yeah.
The movie's really good.
Yeah. But yeah, I gotta agree. The Paper Towns, it was a surprise. It was kind of like, the trailer looked good, so me and Alex actually gone to watch it back when it was in theaters. I was working at the Warren, so it was cool. Got in there for free. It was whatever at the time.
And then
I thought it was great.
Then I checked out the anniversary edition of the Candyman, which finally, after years of waiting for this movie, finally had its own Blu-ray release, and I finally sat down and checked it out. It looks tremendous. It has a 4K restoration in the episode or in the film itself. It's not true 4K, but it still looks really, really good.
There you go.
Also, we're kind of jumped right into a little bit of movie news, but I heard that the guy who directed Get Out is going to direct
John Krasinski. Or no, not John Krasinski.
That's The Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Is gonna direct the reboot of Candyman.
See, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't expect a film like Get Out to be in his repertoire, I guess you'd say, or his resume at all.
You seen it yet?
No, I have not seen it yet, but I've read the synopsis and I've seen a couple clips, and so far it's just I was about to say it's not. When you watch Key and Peele, you expect good comedy, great laughter. You that's what I expect from those two guys. It's not that I don't think they can take things seriously and be a good serious entity on their own, or a duo for that matter. It's just when I see them, I always think noise. If you get that from their Key and Peele series. But
used to be pretty hot.
Yeah, simple. But Yeah, I just didn't expect them to do, or one of them even, for that matter, to do a serious take on a subject of a movie. So happy to see different genres coming out of a guy's ass. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I mean, we're going to take a little break, and when we get back, we will shoot over and do some movie news.
Sure.
Alright, and here we got with a little bit of movie news. Of course, Edward, we heard probably some of the biggest news we've heard in a few weeks, and that is, last week was Avengers Endgame trailer came out. I'm still hearing that the Avengers Endgame is going to be about 3.5 hours, maybe 3:45.
Hey, I'm cool with that. I am definitely cool with that. I mean, I know it's kind of a crazy thing because usually you don't have many movies now eclipsing more than 215, 220 usually, if that. So I'm happy on it.
Man, and then they all done for movie news app that you can get at your app store or Google Play or Apple. What did you think of the Godzilla trailer? Did you check out the Godzilla trailer?
Oh my god. Dude, I've been wondering if they're going to bring anything back. And for the King of Monsters, oh my god. Like, don't get me wrong, Mothra, I don't even know where to begin with all this crud because some of the toys I've seen even, okay. I don't know. I mean, that's like, because I love the one, the 2002, 2001 Godzilla back in the day.
Right.
I like that one, and I mean, it's gotten kind of shoved on and, crapped on and all that. But I mean, that one, what was that, 2015, 2013?
2014 with Bryan Cranston.
Yes, that one was
epic.
Man, I thought that was really good.
I think they hit big on it, and I think they got their own monster verse coming into it.
Which, I mean,
and then King Kong Skull Island. Did you check that out?
Yeah,
it was really good.
So, I'm just wondering when the hell they're going to bring those two together on
it's coming.
The silver screen.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's coming. And then really in other news, man, have you heard about the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse review?
I have heard about it. I've heard it's really good, but I mean, other than just hearing it,
I'm getting more than it's really good. I'm getting it's the best Spider-Man film out there.
Like cartoon, live action.
It's better than all the live action movies.
Like anything. Ever.
Anything. Homecoming, Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. I heard it's better than all of them.
Damn. That's a huge shoe to fill. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's got Peter Parker, it's got Miles Morales, it's got Gwen Stacy, it's got Spider-Pig, of all freaking things. So, it's what, 6 of them, I think? 5 or 6 of them?
No, right. I mean, absolutely.
So,
it looks huge.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it. I want to go check it out this weekend. What about you? Do you, anything coming out recently that you might want to check out?
I mean, recently, Aquaman, of course, like we've been talking about for the past, 2 months now.
Aquaman comes out on the 21st, I believe.
I've also heard Once Upon a Deadpool. I definitely wouldn't mind that. I like Deadpool.
All that is, though, is a PG-13 version of the first one.
Oh, okay, so it's just a re-release. That's what I was...
It's a re-release transformed into a PG-13 film, so they can bank off the PG-13 audience. It's the same movie.
I mean,
it's either the first one or the second one, but
don't get me wrong. I know that even Ryan Reynolds himself had a little trailer advert, if you will, saying, don't bring kids to this movie. It's not a kids movie. It is a kill movie. It is an adult film. Da 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 da. But I mean, when I watched it, there was a little 8-year-old boy with his mom right next to me in theaters. No joke. Like, literally, Alex was beside me. I'm right here. On my left side, there's a little 8-year-old boy. On his left, his mom was at the end. I'm not saying that's a bad parent. I'm just saying, at 8 years old, I wasn't being allowed to watch rated R movies. I was just like, damn, for real.
And then,
but, hey, whatever.
One more that we'll touch here, because we did cover so much movie news last week that there's
It's
really.
yeah.
But last, I'm hearing, and this is to comicbooknews.com, that Marvel and Sony are battling over Spider-Man and Avengers Endgame.
I can kind of see that. I mean, honestly.
New details have learned that Marvel's initial plans for the Avengers Endgame, as it's revealed, Sony and Marvel had a bit of a battle over Spider-Man.
Yeah. And I mean, that's gonna, kind of come out in the woodworks, because I mean, Sony does technically still own Spider-Man rights. So, I mean, they're probably, I don't know if they're not happy about what they've gotten. Or
Sony is saying now that the Avengers have so-called killed off Peter Parker, supposedly, that they want their rights to do their own Spider-Man movie. So,
which, I mean, I get, but then again, don't get me wrong, there is another Spider-Man movie coming out within the next, year and a half?
I think it's a May release,
yeah,
2019.
So not even a year. And you don't know if he's truly dead or not. I mean, come on. Come on.
Right, no,
We'll see.
definitely. But I have a few messages from our sponsor, and then we will get into our news segment, and we will talk to the guest speaker, who has been following us very, very heavily, and who has enjoyed some of the episodes. All that and more when we come back. All right, we are back, and Edward, when you're down, what kind of drink do you go for?
Honestly, I like to go for the Rockstar Ultraviolet. So
Man,
that's really good.
I tried the purple like you told me the other day,
Yeah.
and it was really good. But Rockstar Energy Drink is designed for those who lead an active lifestyle, available in over 20 amazing flavors, and available in over 30 different countries.
Oh, wow, 20 flavors?
Yeah.
Dang, okay.
So when you're down and you need a little pick-me-up, go ahead and shoot for that Rockstar.
No matter what you like, they've got something for you.
And we're going to introduce special guest caller here. He's been following the show, huge into movies, big movie buff like ourselves. Listens into podcasts. One day wants to get into podcasting as well. And let's introduce Zach to the Cine-Men movie podcast guys out there.
How's it going, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Glad to be here.
Good deal. Good. Glad to have you.
So Zach, what have you been doing? You have any recent watches lately that you've been dying to maybe talk about?
I'm just trying to catch up for the rest of the year. I always like to do a bottom 10, worst 10 of the year. I just got done right before you guys got me in. I just finished Black Klansman.
Oh, nice.
Interesting movie.
What'd you think?
I liked it. It's it's Spike Lee. I'm not very much a Spike Lee type of person, but I thought what he did with this film and the subject matter, especially in today's time, it's actually pretty good.
It's different. It's kind of powerful, and I can definitely see if it doesn't get an Oscar nomination, I can definitely see why. But I at least hope that it at least gets some kind of recognition.
Yeah, I could see it. Definitely at least getting Best Picture and maybe even Best Director for Spike Lee. And
Yeah.
maybe even
I mean,
son.
you correct me if I'm.
nominated.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's gotten a.
Nomination.
No, he's gotten nominated, but I don't
award.
think he's gotten an award for Best Director yet.
I don't think he has. I think this would be... Well, did he get nominated for Do the Right Thing? Didn't he get nominated for that?
I think he got nominated for that.
Movie?
He didn't get it, but he did get nominated for Malcolm X. Didn't get that as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
but he has been outspoken about the Academy, and he kind of doesn't really care what they think. So I mean that probably has a lot to do with it.
Black sheeps himself a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I
hey,
think he's on the same level as Joaquin Phoenix. He doesn't care at all if he gets nominated or not, even though he is a tremendous actor.
I agree with that. Because that guy, he's gonna do what he actually likes without care of representation.
So before we get into, I mean, we're gonna ask you some questions, but before we get into it, I mean, you guys kind of know each other.
Yeah.
Why don't you let everybody know where'd you guys meet, and you guys kind of have the same kind of love for movies as we all do here.
Yeah, definitely. We actually worked at the Warren upstairs at the Oscar lounge for a while, a little over a year together. So we go back a little bit, about 4 years, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably. Did you work there in 2013, Edward? I can't remember.
Jamie,
yeah,
it's actually,
because I was off and on, and then from January to about probably April of 2015, I worked with Edward at the Warren.
Yeah, I worked there from January 4th of 2013 all the way to October 15th or October 10th of 2015. So, good 2.5 years.
Man, I
literally.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you definitely meet some good people working at a theater. I worked at Harkins for just a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's actually where me and Zach, for that matter, met one of our pretty faithful listeners, Cynthia.
Yeah,
we met her there.
Oh, yeah.
We've heard from Cynthia from the show. She won a digital copy of Hotel Transylvania 3. So big shout out to Cynthia. Thank you for the listen.
Yeah, so we always do a little segment we like to call the Top 5.
So,
and
we'll get into your top 5 Denzel films in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, you kind of told me earlier on in the week, but why don't you tell everybody out there, and Edward here, maybe some of your favorite actors. We gave our top 5 actors last week's episode.
Yep.
So, would you, you want to name some of yours?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Probably my favorite actor working today is probably Leonardo DiCaprio. I pretty much love anything I'm down for anything that he does.
Gotcha.
It's going to be interesting to see what this new Quentin Tarantino movie is coming out next year, what he's going to be doing with that. I also love Michael B. Jordan. I think he's probably one of the best young and up and coming actors that we've got right now. Let's see what else. We've got to love me some Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise. I do also like older, like from the golden age of Hollywood, like Grace Kelly and Jimmy Stewart. I forgot to mention Humphrey Bogart a little bit earlier when I was talking to you on.
Yep.
There's just a handful of like collections of different people that I like. But probably, if I had to name the top 3, it'd probably be DiCaprio, Jordan, and probably Hanks. I would say Hanks is probably the top 3.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, we were kind of discussing last week, like, it's kind of hard to put these guys in a top 5 or maybe even a top 3. Like, there's so many good actors for different kinds of films, different genres. Very few of them can go out there and do, all kinds of work. But it's just one of those things that, man, it's just nowadays, it's so hard to put them into a category.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. It's something that, like, when I know I think you named Daniel Day-Lewis as one of your favorite actors.
Yep.
Daniel Day-Lewis is just, don't get me wrong, he's an incredible actor, but I just never ever want to rewatch one of his movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He gets so drawn into the role that, he is that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, once like There Will Be Blood, incredible performance, never ever want to see the movie again.
Right.
Yeah, actually, like one was telling me, he would walk around as Abraham Lincoln and like go to the freaking bank or go to wherever he liked to eat and actually.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, that's a little intense. Method acting, but times 20.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff isn't for a lot of, I work in Norman and I see all kinds of college students coming by.
Yeah.
And I've actually had college students tell me that that's some of the professors will have them study some of Daniel Day-Lewis's work, and they're bored by it. Even though he might be good, and you can tell he's good, but they're just so bored by his work. Which I can see it, because some of his movies do drag. Right. And some of his movies aren't for everybody, but it's just his roles. And I think that's why maybe he only does one movie every 4 or 5 years.
Right. Which, it makes sense.
Do you think he's retired, or do you think he'll come back, like, in the next couple of years?
Man, I heard he was going to retire after 9, and then I think he said the same thing after Lincoln. At the end of the day, I think it's all about the money, and if the money's right, he'll come back and do something. But I also think it's about the role. If somebody came up to him and had the perfect role for him and had the perfect movie check, I think he would do it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, we were talking about what kind of got us into movies, and earlier in the podcast, some of our favorite movies, getting me into like studying and watching movies were like The Dark Knight, Batman Returns, horror movies for me and Edward back in the day.
Yeah.
Being 10, 11, 12 years old, we were just huge horror junkies. And in the very early episodes, September, October, that everybody can go check out in the archives on Spotify, YouTube. It's very, some of them are kind of, hard to get through because, those were the first 1 or 2 episodes. But, horror for us was one of the ones that really, clicked. Was there a special genre for you that, maybe got you clicked on any certain kind of films?
I wouldn't say a particular genre. I kind of, like you're talking about growing up, I was texting you earlier in the week one, and I'm actually a cancer survivor. I survived it twice, and during that time, I was very much into films is what really got me through it. Like, you could sit down and watch Twister. It's only like an hour and a, probably like nearly hour and 50-minute movie, but it would make the time go by so much quicker.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing treatments or, sitting at the hospital or whatever.
Right. No, yeah,
So,
go ahead.
And so really, the second time when my cancer came back, it was really much in the vein of like the early 2000s, 2001. So that was pretty much the start of like the whole what I call the franchise era, kind of like when Lord of the Rings started, Harry Potter started. It was like one after another. And I remember seeing Fellowship of the Ring, they're 3 hours long, and that really, it just transported me to, I don't have to worry about this. I can just go and be there for a couple hours. And that's what really helped.
Yeah, man. And that's another thing. Like, that's a tremendous story that you were telling me about earlier in the week. And for a lot of people that don't know, it's up to you. It's an open mic, but it's up to you if you want to kind of let people know about those movies really did help you out. What you were going through.
Yeah, and really the ones that really got me through it was kind of like Lord of the Rings, and it was just kind of like a funny thing, but SpongeBob was big at the time. It wasn't a movie though, but it's something that, if it's something that really helps you, you attach onto it, and it's like, that's what happened. It was, because I remember, I'm trying to think, you remember that, did you guys see that movie, The Majestic, with Jim Carrey?
Yes.
That, like, the old-time movie theater?
Yeah.
I remember, like, my mom rented that from, like, I think it was, like, Hollywood Video or something, and I remember being just, like, transfixed by it. I know it's probably not a very good film, but I've always had, like, a soft place for that movie.
Oh, hey, it's all right. We all have our, I guess you'd call it guilty pleasures for that matter.
But like we've said before in this podcast, like, it doesn't matter as long as if the movie touches us, and if we fall in love with a film, I kind of don't care what the reviews say.
Right. I mean, like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it did not do well in theaters.
My guilty pleasure actor is Adam Sandler, and come on, some of his latest movies haven't been superb. Even some of his earlier movies got trashed on.
Yeah. But
it's just those movies, and that's what we want to bring out on this podcast, is that, movies are here for, it helps us get rid of reality.
Well, just like he said, escape to a different world, because, I'll align what you said just a little bit ago with, like, the Harry Potter movies. After my mom's passing when I was a kid, reading those books, and eventually once the movies came out a little bit after, that really helped bring my mind out. For God's sakes, literally when I was a kid, before I started reading Harry Potter, I had a low reading level. Once I started reading Harry Potter and getting into the huge chapter books and the thick 300, 400, 500, 600 page chapter books, after a while, I shot through the roof in my reading level. Comprehension was really easy, simple. So I can align with that.
I mean, that's one thing about it is these movies can touch us. These movies can make us feel and get lost in a reality that, you know, maybe we don't have to always worry about, hey, rent's due, or these bills are due, or, you know, this job is really kicking my ass right now.
Actually, I've got a perfect one, and I know you'll really like this because I know you're a huge fan of this, Zach. This little statement, but it's like in the first Fast and the Furious film, Vin Diesel says, you know, what is it? He's like, when I'm in the driver's seat, I live my life a quarter mile at a time. The crew doesn't matter, and their bullshit. What happens at the shop doesn't matter. What happens in the, you know, restaurant, at home, all that bullshit goes out the window. What I'm focused on is that race in that moment and that quarter mile. And I mean, that's the thing. A movie might only take you away for 2, 3, maybe an hour and a half, even maybe that little bit of time. But or even a book, you only might get an hour, 2, 3, 4 hours worth of reading time. Your eyes might get tired. You might get tired of flipping pages. But for those little hours of that day, you were not worried about, you know, as in what your story was, you know, going through the chemo, going into the hospital and being there for hours or maybe days at a time. You know, my story as in, you know, not mixing, you know, with my mind with what had happened and all that. Or, you know, whatever story is out there for, you know, whether it's a fortunate story, a tragic story, an unfortunate tragic event, things like that can help you out.
And I mean, that's kind of like, well, it seems like we all have kind of these stories that, you know, bring us into these films. And like, with my dad, you know, I lost my dad a few years ago. And when I was a kid, I could not stand to watch Indiana Jones. I could not stand to watch some of the Star Trek movies, or, you know, Twister was one of his favorite movies as well. But now, like, I'll sit back and I'll watch Indiana Jones, and it just kind of has that warm feeling inside.
Brings you back to that moment.
Yeah.
So.
And there's also something very magical, literally, about going into a theater, being in a room with a whole bunch of strangers you don't know, and just having the same experience of watching something.
Yeah.
Like when a perfect example when me and my friend went and saw Infinity War. When you know, if you've seen Infinity War, you know what happens at the end. When you get to that and you hear everyone's reaction to what's going on, it's just something that it's almost like a drug. You want more of it. And it's just so fun to be with that crowd.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I know that, you know, I'm one of them. Sometimes I won't go see a movie 7, 8 o'clock at night because of, you know, maybe the crowds or something. It may not be the right kind of crowd for me. But man, when I go see a movie and it's like 6, you know, it is one of those primetime movies.
Yeah.
The crowd, you can just feel everybody in that room almost, you know, that when something happens on film, their breath gets taken away.
Mm-hmm. I had that similar experience when we went, me and a coworker went and saw the new Halloween.
Yep.
You know, everyone was just so excited to see the return of Michael Myers. And when he puts on that mask for the very first time, it's just like, they understand it.
Yeah. It's a strange thing, but it's it all kind of comes together once, because
almost like, well, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but like almost if you do like a I don't know how different you guys are to maybe like, you know, some, you know, Zach, you said you like Leo, but in 2012 or 13 they came out with Titanic at the Warren at the IMAX. Yeah. And I went and checked it out, and the place was sold out. For Titanic. Oh yeah. But when that final scene hit where Jack was frozen, you could hear a pin drop in that theater.
Well, I mean, it's still that just a good performance from a good actor or actress for that matter. Even it doesn't just have that. It's like a drop in a pool of water. It resonates, and there's waves built on that, and they might those little ripples might be small, but they still go on. And on and on. Mm-hmm. Don't mean to come up from Celine Dion right there, but hey, you know. But yeah, definitely. It just goes to show, you know, movies don't necessarily have to be the Last of the Mohicans.
Correct.
You know, it doesn't have to be the best film ever. You know, and I'm not saying that I think that's the best film ever.
No, right.
But either way, it doesn't have to be the best film ever to touch somebody. I mean, one of my top favorite films, literally, that I've mentioned several times, is Donnie Darko, and it's just because of how I perceive the story. It's not because I think it's the best movie of all time.
Right.
It's just my favorites. So, boom. You just gotta have that little connection with it. Not simple as that. You know?
And that's the perfect example, because I don't know if did you guys see this movie that came out last year? Actually, it was called Gifted. It had Chris Evans and Octavia Spencer in it.
Yeah, I have.
What was it called?
Gifted.
Oh, Gifted. Yes, about his. Yeah, with the little
girl.
with the little girl in it.
Mm-hmm. That movie, those are the movies that like I wish more people would see, and especially with the podcast. It's just so emotionally charged in that you may not relate to them personally, but you want them to succeed, and with the little girl and Chris Evans and everything. And that's for me a movie that like I try and get more people to see. That's like one of my missions in life.
I mean, it's kind of like this one, Fences. I mean, this is a very emotional movie. I mean, it's, 90% dialogue, 10% actions. So...
Fences is one of the ones I was really proud of going and seeing, and then it was one of those movies that really didn't get talked about when the first trailer hit. But man, the moment Oscar season came up, and we actually, checked this out earlier. I couldn't remember off the top of my mind. And debate is welcomed here, but off the top of my mind, I couldn't remember who won the Oscar for Best Actor that year. So, I mean, I looked it up, and I forgot all about Casey Affleck for Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah.
Wow. That's right.
Have you seen that movie?
I have seen Manchester by the Sea, yeah.
And this week was also your first time viewing Fences as well as Edwards. If you had to compare the two, I mean, the two actors with Manchester by the Sea and Fences, what's your take on it? What's your thoughts?
In me or Edward?
You, Zach.
Zach, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Now that you kind of say that, one, the movies are very, very similar. They're very different, but they're very similar.
Right.
Both films are very character-driven. They're both very dialogue-heavy. Yep. They're very emotionally charged. Although one, probably Manchester by the Sea, probably has more of an emotional gut punch to it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely.
You know what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely more depressing, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Fences is probably more of a character piece than Manchester by the Sea, just based off August Wilson's Flight Fences, obviously. And it's interesting because, Denzel and Viola, they did I think it was the 2010 adaptation of it, and now they came back to do the film version.
Right.
And obviously I didn't see their Broadway version of it, but just judging by what I saw in the movie, it looked like both of them were very, very careful, if that's the right word, with the source material.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. We just watched it literally about an hour ago to get ready for this episode and get ready to break it down. But Viola Davis, when she was outside with Denzel talking about, she stood with him for 18 years, and she was just sobbing. Like, what kind of performance was that? Like, that deserves, I know she won the Oscar for that, but man,
powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I can really bring up is just a powerful character moments. Different, because honestly, it's not that she was just. She had so many different moments that had so much powerful emotion behind them that you really felt you were more watching a documentary than an actual movie. And it's the fact of, there was, to me, there was so few lines that were just perfect. But like I mentioned to you, there was one in particular that literally was that turning point in the movie, and you felt it go from, its top, and all of a sudden said that line, and it just friggin' you're on a roller coaster about to go over the edge, and it just dove.
Yeah.
150 miles an hour, just gone.
Yeah.
Which, I'm just going to go ahead and mention the line. She said, this baby might have a mother, but you are womanless now. And it was just like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, that whole little line, you know, because don't get me wrong, I didn't expect something like that. You knew she was pissed at him, you knew she was upset, you knew she was hurt. But, like, don't get me wrong, like, that ate his soul.
Right. And, like, Edward, you were telling me, you know, kind of in the middle of the movie, you were like, you know, I don't really know where this is going, what is kind of the concept of this film.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, for everybody out there listening who maybe has not seen this movie yet, it's pretty much, you know, a working class African-American father tries to raise his family in the 1950s while coming to terms with the events of his life. And in the scene where he explains, you know, that it's nice to go out and have a drink and laugh, and he feels that warmness inside all the way down to his, you know, his feet.
His feet, yeah.
That kind of in the 50s, that kind of speaks, you know, kind of strong for an African male in the 50s as well.
Yeah. Because, I mean, even going over the entire thing, like we just said, you know, that was his getting away moment. That was his, and like he said in the movie, you know, he didn't have his responsibility. He didn't have to worry about the roof. He didn't have to worry about cutting the logs or the timber for the fence. He didn't have to worry about paying the rent, paying the bills, and all that stuff. All he had to worry about was what type of man that she made him feel like. Which, I mean, unfortunately, you know, like Viola Davis's character was saying, you know, you were supposed to be in my bed, not someone else's. Very true. You know, a marriage should be between you and that other person, your partner, unless y'all have other arrangements. But that's between the parties. But I mean, unfortunately, he deviated from that path and went on his way. But you know, it happens.
Well, I thought that before you did the one you were talking about, the Viola Davis saying beside her man for 18 years.
Yeah.
If you back up just a few probably minutes later, when he comes in the house and tells her that he had an affair with another woman, just the look on her face is just so like.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How could you do this? That for me was like, that's what won her the Oscar.
Yeah, and
that look.
And the thing that I agree with you, like, wholeheartedly. And the thing that upsets me about Denzel not getting the nod is that when he explains to her what he did, as you're watching it, it makes it feel like you're explaining to her. I mean, I don't know if you guys got that, but while he was explaining it to her, I kind of felt like I was ashamed, like I'm fucking sitting here, you know,
doing the same thing.
Yeah, I feel like, man, I'm a dick, but. You know,
in his shoes, basically.
Yeah, but going back to the year, you know, the 2017, which would have been the 2016 calendar year. Best picture that year was Moonlight.
Yeah.
And that was the whole La La Land and like the debacle, yeah.
Yeah, that was yeah. Do you agree with, you know, I mean, to me, I enjoyed all of them. I've seen all of them. I could sit there all day and debate whether it could be Fences or whether it could be Manchester by the Sea, Moonlight, La La Land, Hacksaw Ridge. Oh my God, Hacksaw Ridge was so good. That was probably one of the better years in recent memory as far as like all those nominations just being so good. Do you think they got it right that year? Zach?
You know, it's hard because if you try to separate, it's always hard talking about the Oscars because you want your own personal film to win.
Right.
Like last year, I know we're talking about 2016, but last year, The Shape of Water won last year.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's fine, I guess. But like, I personally thought that Dunkirk should have won Best Picture. That was an extraordinary film.
Yeah.
You know, and going back to 2016, it's hard because I really loved Hacksaw Ridge. I thought that was an incredible war film. That's always one of the best war films I've seen in a very long time. But at the same time, I understand why La La Land probably should have won Best Picture because it was just, the Academy is a very, you know, it's an interesting conversation, but they're a sucker for like films that either represent or pay tribute to what came before.
Yeah, that's true.
So I really thought La La Land was like, oh, that was the winner. But you know, Moonlight won Best Picture, and I've seen Moonlight, and I get it. You know, I understand why that probably won Best Picture, but
Yeah, I was gonna. That's true, though. I was gonna say Moonlight opened the doors for a lot of these other movies. You know, and I don't know if you've listened, but in the past episodes, I continuously talk about A24.
Yeah.
yeah, A24 now.
I continually talk about it, and Moonlight to me was a great film. I mean, I'm glad it won. I mean, to me, they all were deserving of winners. But as far as Moonlight goes, like, it opened the door for a lot of these other movies to maybe step into the limelight.
Especially more independent companies like A24.
Yep.
Because I think A24, I think they're nominated. They'll be nominated again this year for. I think it's Bell Street to Talk, which is Barry Jenkins' follow-up film from Moonlight. I think they're the studio that does that. I think. So, you know, and I think they also did Hereditary earlier this year. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that was a really good horror movie.
Yeah, one did.
Yeah, Hereditary was one that I wanted to cover during horror season. We just didn't get to it. There were so many that, you know, we wanted to cover, but we're definitely going to cover some more of these Oscar-like films heading into Oscar season, and I think it's February this year. So, you know, Fences is one that I really wanted to show Edward, and one that, you know, I want to make sure everybody out there listens to, because I got a couple customers in Norman that come in to the store, young college kids who take, you know, film classes, and a lot of them just have not seen some of these performances. I'm like, what are they showing you guys?
Right.
You know, you're paying all this money to go to a university. I'm like, what are they showing you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, different professors always run their course, and it's a different taste in movies, and they might have certain tastes that align with certain ways, but I agree that, you know, you should be non-biased when teaching a film study class, especially if you are trying to get critics or, you know, even actors out there for that matter. It shouldn't be a biased thing at all. Unless you're specifically like, oh, well, I'm a horror genre, then okay, you present all horror. Simple as that, you know. But
right, no doubt. Zach, one thing, you know, last week was a completely huge top 5 episode for us, and we talked about in movie news about the Avengers Endgame trailer. What are your thoughts, man? What do you think about this movie? You know, April cannot come fast enough for all of us. Yeah. What do you think about this movie?
I do think I'm like you guys. I did listen to that. I was listening to your prior episode, which was the one you're talking about. I do think Avengers Endgame is going to be. I hope. I just had some part of me. I really hope I'm wrong. I think I'm going to be wrong. You know, Marvel has been setting all these high bars for these films, and the fact that they were able to pull off Infinity War and it be one of the best. Well, in my opinion, one of the best movies of the year is insane. And, you know, going into what hopefully is not the final film for all these characters, I think we're going to be, because they really, I'm sorry, I'm going like 5 different directions right now.
No, you're good.
You know, they really teased us the idea that we were going to lose a lot of our heroes in Infinity War, which, besides the fact that the racing at the end, like, we thought we were going to lose Cap, we thought we were going to lose Iron Man, all this and that, but I do think in this one, we will lose a lot of the hardcore Avengers, because really, if you think about it, this is the original group that, you know, started us all off, and now we're going into this final film that, you know, Tony may die, Captain America may die,
which, I mean, literally has been leading up for 10 years. Literally.
Mm-hmm. And now that I think I don't want to say that this is going to happen, but I do think that whether or not we lose Captain America or Tony Stark or whoever, I don't think that this will be the end for them. I think, like you were talking about in the last episode, they might be like little cameos, because I'd hate for them just to get rid of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and all these actors.
Right.
Because, okay, the storylines are done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I get that to a point, and I agree with you. And I still think at the end of the day, it's a business decision, and it's all about the money. I think Disney just cannot afford to lose those kind of characters just yet. Like, they might go away for a little bit, like you said, but I think eventually they might, they'll bring probably some small cameos, but if anybody had to go, I think it's going to be Cap. I don't see Tony Stark leaving just yet, because he is worth so much to Disney as far as
definitely.
Merchandise, ticket sales. I mean,
which, I mean, Captain America is as well, but it's definitely been like, you've seen Iron Man was technically the first one out of this MCU, literally. So when you,
right? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big comic book guy. I mean, I'm more of the DC comics and Batman's. But as far as Marvel goes, I'm not that familiar with the comic books. But I mean, I don't know if you are, Zach, but one of you guys correct me if I'm wrong. When Marvel first started this in 2008, they picked Iron Man, Thor. From what I've read, those are some of the back tier superheroes for Marvel in 06, 07. Those weren't really the big names as far as like X-Men, Spider-Man.
Right.
Those were bigger than, Iron Man in 2007, 2006, am I right?
Basically. I think they were cultivating it and coming up with the ideas to go forth with that. And, as in they, Marvel themselves. But I don't think it was 100% hardcore set in stone until they were like, well, okay, Iron Man, let's give this a try, and it took off for them, and they were,
I mean, what do you think about this, Zach? Do you think we'll see any kind of X-Men cameo in Avengers Endgame? Even if it's even if it's not a cameo, it's just say you see a wheelchair and a bald guy at the end of the movie. Do you think we'll see any kind of small thing like that?
I don't think so, just because I understand. I think the Disney Fox acquisition goes into effect at the start of the year, but I truly think that they want Endgame to be, this is the culmination of, like you said, Edward, for the last 10 years.
Right.
And let's just keep it like that. And then after Endgame comes out, and what else will come out next year?
Spider-Man.
Marvel, which is before that, and Spider-Man Far From Home. Then maybe let's try and integrate some of these characters, like X-Men and maybe Deadpool.
What do you think about, before we brought you on today, we had some discussion about Sony and Marvel was kind of duking it out for Spider-Man, talking about rights and stuff. Do you see this battle ending between Sony and Marvel? Do you think it'll be like maybe, do you think Sony will get their way and just completely take Spider-Man away again?
I could see Marvel taking Spider-Man back, just because Homecoming was such a huge success for them, and I think it is probably one of the better Spider-Mans that we've gotten in a while.
Oh, yeah.
And Venom, did you guys see Venom?
Yeah, I did.
Edward did. I'm waiting for the Blu-ray.
So I mean, if you're talking about the nod,
without spoiling it, Edward, did you like Venom?
yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I remember the nod back to New York, is what they said. So I don't know if that's post, Eddie Brock versus Peter Parker, or if it's, pre, for that matter. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought it was pretty good. I liked it.
What did you guys think of? I know we're jumping way off subject here, but it's fine. What did you guys think of the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield? I mean, at the end of, it gets trashed on a lot, but at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, you see the formation of the Sinister Six. Yeah. Were you guys excited for that?
Oh, yeah.
Were you bummed out that it didn't continue, or, I mean, one of you guys want to go first?
I mean, I was really excited about it, because, with Rhino, the Russian...
Oh, Paul Giamatti was playing Rhino.
Like the Russian... Russian part of it, I guess you'll say, robotics. I was ready for Doc Ock to come out. I was ready for Mysterio or whoever was going to be part of the Sinister Six, because there has been different evolutions and different formations of Sinister Six, such as Justice League and for that matter the Avengers.
Yep.
Hell, even the Fantastic Four has had different variations. So,
what about you, Zach?
Yeah.
What did you think of the Andrew Garfield ones?
I actually enjoyed the Amazing Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
I think without bashing, I'm not going to bash DC, but I think what they were trying to achieve with the Amazing Spider-Man was that they're trying to do. They had like all these like 5 different plans mapped out.
Yeah.
And then the Sony Marvel deal happened with Spider-Man, and we got Homecoming instead, and they basically got rid of all the Andrew Garfield stuff. Because originally, spoilers for Amazing Spider-Man 2, Emma Stone, Gwen Stacy dies, and they're supposed to bring in Mary Jane with Shailene Woodley, but that never did happen.
Right.
Or I think they filmed it actually, but they cut her from the film, and they said, "Oh, we're going to save that for part 3," but that never did happen.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Oh, that was it. And see, I'm not 100% sold on Shailene Woodley. I mean, she's done good because Alex liked to watch The Secret Life of the American Teenager, which she was the female star lead in, and Divergent series, which again she was the female star lead in, and all that. Which, I mean, Divergent I was alright with. Secret Life of an American Teenager was kind of like a I don't know, I was not into it much personally, but I mean, she's alright, but I'm still not fully sold on her, honestly.
I don't think she's a good actress. I really don't. I think she's
another like Kristen Bell.
I think she's this is horrible to say, but I think she's kind of like a failed Jennifer Lawrence, because she had that Divergent series, and they didn't even finish the Divergent. There was supposed to be one more, but they kind of canned it.
What about?
And so
let me ask.
I can kind of agree with that.
Have you guys seen The Spectacular Now?
No, I have not.
Yeah, she was good in that. I'll give her credit for that. Her and Miles Teller.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the first movies that I can remember really seeing her in. And I mean, she did good in that one. I thought that was a tremendous movie. But I mean, maybe it's just the roles that she picks. Because I mean, I don't think the Divergent series was for her. I think the Divergent series maybe needed somebody who maybe looked a little bit more grittier, maybe.
Well, I mean, that's like even with like you just brought up Jennifer Lawrence with the Hunger Games. The Katniss Everdeen in the book was pretty much starving to death. I mean, in all honesty, she was a hunter, or a huntress, I should say. She knew how to track, she knew how to kill, she knew how to do all that stuff, but she was supposed to be kind of downtrodden and look more gaunt than she actually did. And when they picked Jennifer Lawrence, who at the time apparently was going through some people saying she was overweight, which how the hell you put Jennifer Lawrence as overweight beats me, but okay.
Yeah.
I thought she was amazingly beautiful at the time, and still is, but either way, it was just kind of a... They always pick people, and it's always going to be complained on. It's never going to be everybody's happy. It's never going to be people just go watch the movie, shut up, and appreciate it, or, oh, I didn't like it. Simple as that. So,
yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately. But I mean, that's even going into different subjects as like, I mean, because that's all series, kind of a, you could even say that was Star Wars with Mark Hamill and, Harrison Ford and everybody who participated in those.
Yeah. I'm going to touch one more subject with Zach about the Marvel DC thing, and then we'll I'll get some of your finishing touches, Zach, on Fences. Do you think if DC would have not went the Marvel route and tried to just rush the movies, do you think more people would, maybe enjoy the DC movies a little bit more? Because, I mean, since they got rid of Snyder, a lot of DC films have been, a little bit better to the public's taste. But the one thing I kind of don't get is Marvel can do something for, one of their films, and then DC do the same thing for one of them, and DC will get bashed for it, but Marvel won't, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just an ongoing fan war, kind of. It's you know, whether you agree or not, people get paid to say, "Oh, DC sucks" or "Marvel sucks" or whatever. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Whether or not you think that Zack Snyder helped the DC universe or didn't, that's anyone's opinion. What I will say is that I've just noticed that the movie has gotten better reviews critically and audience-wise. You know, this new Aquaman that comes out next week, it's gotten way better reviews than I thought it was ever going to get, you know?
Yeah, not to mention Wonder Woman blew it out of the water.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman 84, which comes, I think they postponed it to 2020, that is going to make
Right.
at the box office. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, then now I'm hearing reports that Henry Cavill is not done with Superman. So, I mean, I don't know if they can get in touch with Ben Affleck and maybe get Ben on the same path. But, man, I personally, me growing up with Michael Keaton and, you know, Christian Bale as Batman, I'm going to leave George Clooney out of the discussion because those nipples were just a little too much for me. But
Yeah.
I did enjoy, I mean, I even enjoyed Val Kilmer. He wasn't the best, but, I mean, he wasn't terrible for me. But growing up on all these Batman characters, I personally enjoyed Ben Affleck's Batman. I thought he was big, he was dark, he was what Frank Miller, imagined as Batman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. I actually enjoyed. I feel like this is like a very on a lone statement on this. I actually enjoyed Ben Affleck as Batman. I think he's a much more brooding Batman than I think we've gotten before.
Yeah. No, I mean, I enjoyed it.
And regardless of what's going on in Ben Affleck's personal life, that's his business. I do think that when Justice League came out, you could tell he was kind of out on the character. He was like, okay, let's just kind of get it for the paycheck and I'm out. You know, and I think that's kind of under the direction of Zack Snyder, which, is he gone? Is he out on the DC thing? Or
the last thing he, I think, did was, I don't think he had anything to do with any of the last few ones. I think the last one he did was Justice League, and I think the whole reason they booted him out was because it made $1 billion or close to it, but I think they just booted him out because it wasn't what they envisioned. And I mean, you hired the guy for his imaginary, for his imagination and for him to do what he wants to do with the DC Universe. And I mean, Justice League made a shit ton of money, so, I mean, do I think it was fair that he...
But it's not what it should have been, though.
Right. I mean, do I think it's fair that they just went ahead and booted him out? No, because, I mean, I think he was gonna bring in the Batman and have, at the end of Justice League, what's his name? You see him, the villain.
Deathstroke?
Yes. Now, those, I think, are completely wiped out. They're not going that route.
Yeah. Which is fine, because I don't think Jesse Eisenberg was a very good Lex Luthor to begin with.
No, I mean, he was a little crazy. He was a little out there. I could see him as a perfect, maybe, Riddler.
Yeah. Riddler would be good for him, yeah.
But, I mean, and then I keep hearing reports that DC is in talks with Jonah Hill to play the Penguin. Now, I don't know if that's just speculation or if that's just, fan talk, but that has been making the rounds as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they keep going. I hear that they want to still do the Batman. And I can't remember if it was Zack Snyder or somebody read Ben Affleck's script of the Batman or whatever he had, because he was originally supposed to write, direct, and star, and they said it was one of the best Batman movies they'd ever read. But now we probably won't ever know.
But here's the thing with DC is just like I feel like, obviously it's an incredible company with all these incredible characters, but the problem is, I think, in my opinion, they don't let the directors do their vision, and whether or not you agree with the director, Zack Snyder's direction of Justice League or Batman or Superman, just let him tell the story he wants to tell, and whether or not, like Patty Jenkins, what she did with Wonder Woman is incredible. And I think that's why they kept her on to do the sequel. And they just, like James Wan, we're about to see his version of Aquaman. And if it's good, they just let the directors do the thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand this whole that schedule was trying to be, this is what I want and this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
let them do their thing.
yeah, I mean, that's true. I don't know, Zach, if you keep up with the NFL, but it's almost like what they do in the NFL with the head coaches. You know, they can go 10-6 and miss the playoffs, and they'll fire the coach after 1 year. Like, you won 10 games, you just didn't make the playoffs. No need to just fire him. So,
Yeah.
it kind of makes the same look there for me. But, I think we're gonna get ready to go into your. We'll talk about some of your top 5 Denzel Washington movies, and then I'll ask you one more question about Fences. So, I mean, if you had just on the ones you've seen, I mean, you know, what would you rank your top 5 Denzel movies going from 5 to 1?
So yeah, probably going from, I do have 2 honorable mentions. The 2 honorable mentions are probably The Book of Eli and Philadelphia.
Oh, God,
The Book of Eli is never, I feel like that's kind of been forgotten. You know, it came out like 8 years ago, but that's a really cool action Denzel movie. One, I know you just recently saw Philadelphia for the first time.
Oh.
It's a very incredible film.
Yeah.
And then probably going from 5 to 1, do you just want me to list them off real quick or talk about them? Or
you can go ahead and list them off and then give maybe like a little detail of maybe why, you know, you feel like that was a good movie.
Okay. So number 5, I have Unstoppable, where it's him and Chris Pine trying to stop the train.
Yep.
You know, that was him and director, what was his name, Tony Scott.
Oh, yeah.
They had a good combination work style. Number 4, I have Man on Fire, where he plays the bodyguard trying to protect Dakota Fanning.
Oh, yeah, that was, man.
Good film. Number 3, I have Training Day, you know, his Oscar-winning performance as a correct cop. Number 2, I have American Gangster, which, you know, Ridley Scott and Denzel, you can't really go wrong with that.
Man, that's another movie that kind of just, I mean, I don't mean to cut you short right now, but man, mentioning that movie with Russell Crowe, that's another movie that kind of gets forgotten about.
Yeah. And then probably number 1, I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but I thought the Magnificent 7 remake that he did with Chris Pratt and Antoine Fuqua, I thought that was really well done.
Man, yeah, I mean, I went and saw that in theaters when it came out, and that was just, I have that in, it's not in my top 5, but I mean, I'll let that slip right now that it's in my honorable mention, just because I could not get over that movie. To me, Magnificent 7 was a modern day version of like what a good Western should be, and you don't see too many Westerns getting put out nowadays.
Nah, Red Dead Redemption kind of took over that. I'm sorry, Red Dead 2. Yeah. My bad.
But yeah, you don't see too many Westerns nowadays getting put out, and like you said, Zach, I thought that one was well put together. I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, it's also fun. It's just a fun popcorn film. Like, you could just sit down for 2 hours and just enjoy it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's something we kind of discussed here. Like, man, you know, we don't want to have this hour and a half, 2 hour long podcast and just completely trash a film. I mean, do we have movies that we don't finish or that, you know, we probably won't ever put in again or ever stream again? Yeah, we have a couple of those, but we're not going to put that on air or just sit and bash that movie for like the entire 2 hours. Like,
no.
I enjoy going into the theater with an open mind, getting you some popcorn, maybe getting you a little drink, and just going in with an open mind. And if you do that, like we've said it here since day one on the first episode, you're going to enjoy more movies than most.
See, I got to differentiate from you. I don't go in with that. I like to go in with the crispy crunchers. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah, I don't go for popcorn all the time. But, no, I'm just kidding. That was mainly a joke. But, yeah, definitely. You know, like I said earlier, I don't really like the 5-year engagement, but I'm not going to sit here and just, like, trash every actor or actress, because I've seen all of them in different things and that I've liked.
Oh yeah.
So it's not that I think they did bad. Sometimes you do with what you got, and sometimes it does not pan out. I just thought it was a movie that dragged, and that's all. That's all it is. I fell asleep in a few times. I fell asleep in the movie a few times. That was back in 2012. So it happened.
No, you're right.
You know?
And even in a good movie like Fences, now it's just a little bit, but the ending for me did kind of drag just a little bit. And if I had this movie is almost, if you could almost have a near perfect movie, this is probably one for me. But the ending after Denzel died and Corey showed up on the doorstep,
oh man,
it kind of did drag just a little bit. But then it picked up when Viola Davis went outside and said, "Boy, you're going to your dad's funeral." Then it started picking up just a little bit. But I mean, even your good decent movies drag just a little bit.
I mean, the only thing I've got to say that I didn't truly like all the way about this was that it was just a dialogue movie. But I didn't really know much about it. So, going in with that, I didn't know what to expect. But I mean, the main thing I've got to say was just that it seemed kind of random here and there. It didn't seem like it had one straight story throughout the whole thing, and I didn't understand what the story was going to until the last probably 45 minutes. And I was like, because I mentioned it at the time in real life on the movie when we were watching. I thought the brother who came home from war, and I don't remember what he said he got hit by, but he got hurt in the war and had a metal plate, and he had some disabilities after that. I thought he was going to die. I thought he was going to get hit by a damn car, and I was just like, "Oh crap!" Like this, because he kept walking towards the street.
That all the way through.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, once the scene with him going with the son, Corey, going against Denzel's character, I knew it was going to be Denzel's character that was going to. I was like, man, that kind of the sleight of hand for me. It made me look in one direction and put me in another. So
yeah, I mean,
it was good.
Before I let you go, Zach, if you had to tell somebody who's never seen this movie in Fences, and then if they've never seen it, how would you describe for somebody to go see it? Like, what would be your selling point to tell them to go see it? And then when you get done, give me a star rating if you had one from like 1 to 10, like if you were doing a IMDb rating.
Okay. I'd probably tell someone just you really have to enjoy dialogue-driven films. Otherwise, you're going to be completely bored by it. And once you get to probably one of the best parts of the film for me was just the interaction between Corey and Denzel, and the fact that he wants to become a football player, Denzel won't let him just because he just doesn't want him to live in his shadow.
Yeah.
That's for me just the character-driven moment of what works for the film. And I think you were saying the ending does drag a little bit. I think that if they would have just ended it with kind of Denzel screaming out the window to death saying, "Here I am, come get me," I think it may have been probably more of a powerful ending to say, "Oh yeah, he finally got what he was talking about the entire time."
I like that ending. That's. I mean, we talk about it and we use this word a lot, and that's fantasy booking, if you will. I mean, and that's some pretty damn good fantasy booking. I could see that movie ending like that, and the way you described it, that would kind of be a pretty good fucking ending.
Yeah.
So.
And so overall, I think the performances is what makes the film go. Denzel and Viola are just incredible. The supporting cast is even tremendous with the actress who played Corey and the neighbor, Mr. Boner, and Uncle Gabe, and even the little girl at the very end. I thought she did a very good performance for the little 5 minutes that she had. Just overall, I mean, if you're into those type of films, you'll really enjoy it. If not, then I'd probably stay away from it.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like Stephen McKinley Henderson, the guy who played Bono, like, man, him and Denzel just really, really just had that organic chemistry.
Yeah.
And that's another word we use here is organic, and I think it's probably because that they did the play together, but they just fed off of each other, and it's almost like they were literally bullshitting, and there was just a camera sitting there filming them.
Pretty much, yeah. And I mean, honestly, it's kind of like don't get me wrong, you're not going to see 4 or 5 guys, or even 2 or 3, going and having a bottle of gin or Jack or Weller's or whatever your taste is, just sitting around outside, just drinking like who's watching. But especially around kids playing out front, you're not going to see that much these days.
Right.
But it kind of had a, like you say, organic feeling to it, that they all just knew each other. It was like, it wasn't like you came into a movie that, oh, well, they've been acting together for 3, 4, 5 months now, but it was like, dang, they've known each other for 30, 40 years, and
exactly.
They just happen to be across the same job now. Cool. There you go. Boom.
So, yeah, I mean, Zach, if you had to give your rating on it, what kind of star rating would you give it?
I'd probably give it probably a 7.5 out of 10.
Cool.
And that in this day and age, it's just like if it's not a 10 or if it's a 1, if it's not a 10 or a 9, people just hate it.
Right.
I really enjoyed this film. It's not something I'll probably watch again, But, I mean, it's Denzel. You can't really go wrong with Denzel.
Right, yeah, that no doubt, especially after you gave your top 5, and then a little bit later on we'll give our top 5 at the end of the show. But man, any ideas or maybe a film you'd like to see us cover next week? Any possible ideas? I can jot them down, and maybe we can text and talk about them later. I mean, it doesn't have to be something in depth. I mean, it could be like 1 or 2 off the top of your head. Maybe we can talk about it and see if I have it. If I don't have it, maybe we can find it.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to do something like kind of like a retro perspective of like Edward was saying, of the Harry Potter films or Lord of the Rings, or something that everyone is still familiar with.
Right. Yeah. We had originally planned to do a Justice League episode next week, or we were tossing around the ideas of, picking a maybe some favorite Christmas movies and having a Christmas episode and talking about why that would be our favorite Christmas movie, and asking everybody else what would be theirs, since our next episode will drop on the 22nd,
just before Christmas.
So I'll definitely check.
They'll probably do a Christmas episode. That'd be real fun to do.
Okay, yeah, I think we'll probably get that in line, and it was good talking with you today, Zach, and glad you listened. Glad you're a fan of the show, and really enjoyed the conversation, and maybe we can do this again next week.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and anytime you want me to come back on, just let me know. I'll be happy to come on board.
All right, man, no problem. Thank you for joining us, and we'll definitely I'll keep in touch with you, and I'll text you a little bit later on, and I'll definitely, if you don't mind, we'll have you back next week.
All right, sounds good, Juan. Edward, good talking to you again.
Good to catch up with you, bud.
All right, man, we'll talk to you later, man. You have a good day.
Yeah, you guys do the same.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Man, what a good kid that is. I mean, what a good guy Zach is.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, I know him personally. Well, I've known him personally. I haven't seen him, like he said, in a few years. But yeah, dude's gone through some stuff in life, but he's a pretty smart kid. Got a good head on his shoulders, good heart. So yeah, glad to catch up with him a bit. That was nice. That was cool. Definitely looking forward to little bits here and there. What we're allowed to do, at least. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely cool. Brought some good insight. I liked some of the different things he brought in. Well,
yeah. All right, and for those of you that are listening, the scene that I was talking about with Denzel, one of the more powerful scenes, is right here in this trailer, and we'll go ahead and give you guys a quick listen.
Can I ask you a question? How come you ain't never liked me?
Like you? What law is there say I got to like you?
No.
All right then. Don't you eat every day? Answer me when I talk to you. Don't you eat every day?
Yeah.
As long as you in my house, you put a sir on the end of it when you talk to me.
Yes, sir.
You eat every day.
Yes, sir.
Got a roof over your head.
Yes, sir.
Got clothes on your back.
Yes, sir.
Why you think that is?
Because of you?
Hell, I know it's because of me. But why do you think that is?
Because you like me?
Like you. I go out of here every morning. I bust my butt because I like you. You're about the biggest fool I ever saw. A man is supposed to take care of his family. You live in my house, fill your belly with my food, put your behind on my bed because you're my son. It's my duty to take care of you. I owe a responsibility to you. I ain't got to like you. Now, I don't give you everything I got to give you. I give you your life. Me and your mama worked that out between us, and liking your black ass wasn't part of the bargain. Now, don't you go through life worrying about whether somebody like you or not. You best be making sure that they're doing right by you. You understand what I'm saying?
Everything that boy do, he do for you.
It's not easy for me to admit that I've been standing in the same place for 18 years.
Well, I've been standing with you. I gave 18 years of my life to stand in the same spot as you.
My God, we just finished that movie, and that scene gets me every time.
Yeah, that's I mean, her words are one thing, but I mean, okay, words. This is what's hard on an actor or an actress, for that matter. Words are easy to say. I'm saying words right now, but the thing is with words, is the aspect of what you bring with them. You know, a tone and the variation of how you say them, because you can say you're a dick or you're a dick, and 100% different feel. And you know, when she said I'm standing in the same spot as you, you know, it was raw emotion. It was like, damn, like she's having problems at home with her husband right now.
Right,
is
right.
kind of how you feel, because you know she's not with Denzel. You know they ain't married and got kids. You know they're probably friends, or at least they see each other and say hi. But you just get that feeling of like, damn, what has been... And you got to have something to draw from to get that kind of raw emotion. You don't just get that.
Right.
Unless you're extremely gifted, then maybe. But you don't just get that.
Yeah.
There's something raw there that she draws from, that she like...
That organic feeling.
Well, I mean, exactly. It just... It's a powerful emotion that you just don't get from an everyday life.
Yeah. Man, everything. That's another thing I say on this podcast. I say a lot.
Well,
I
it
mean,
happens.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm too judgmental of myself.
Well, you want to have the right words. You want to have the right emotions, the right connections, and you want to have the right statements. So sometimes when you're processing something to make it the right words or right statements or right subject matter or content for that matter, you actually pull from something deeper than what is just off the top of your head. I mean, sometimes I say stuff best from the top of my head.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you're looking for something deeper, that's your computing error. You know, that loading is that, you know.
Working all night and still being up right now doesn't help me.
Boom. There
you
go.
Got to pay the bills somehow.
I'm just a working man.
Sitting here talking with the American Dream, baby.
That was good.
For those of you guys that know, not so much Edward, but he follows. I mean, we're wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling fan. We're football fans. The football podcast, unfortunately, I found out this week, is not going to get picked up, at least for this season. I mean, I can personally do it on my own, but it won't be sponsored. Therefore, there won't be that many views. We can still do it if we want to, but I would rather have it take off like this one has.
Yeah.
So, I am still going to do the Super Bowl show, be presented by the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. But this thing right here that started 16 weeks ago, we've almost done this for a full football season year. This movie podcast, we've been doing it 16 weeks. 16 weeks ago, we had no idea what the fuck we were doing. And we did a film called Psycho.
Yep.
Now, here we are doing Denzel's Fences. What a change in just what a difference 16 weeks can make.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's definitely on presentation. And I think, like you said, organicness.
I mean, this is an underground budget. It's not like we don't have a $10,000 budget.
Right. So,
I listen to a lot of podcasts out
right.
there. A lot. And let me tell you when I say this, I'm not blowing my own horn. I'm not trying to put us over. But this is not terrible. Compared to some of the podcasts I've heard out there, it's pretty good. I mean, I'm getting a lot of followers. We're getting a lot of feedback, positive
right.
feedback. Guys like Zach.
Yeah.
I get emails like that every day. He took a chance. He called me.
Yeah.
And we text, and the number is on the Facebook account.
Yeah.
The Cine-Men Movie Podcast phone number. It's on there. You can text it. You can call it. If you want to leave a voice. If say you don't want to talk to anybody, text me. Hey, I'm gonna leave a voicemail. Leave the voicemail. Tell us what you want to see. Tell us what you want to hear.
I mean, hell, I've got Snapchat for that matter. I know I've put myself out there a few times, and I know some of you have actually responded back to me and helped me spread the word. So, I appreciate those ones of you that do listen that have done that. I appreciate the ones that do listen that haven't done that. I appreciate any listen, any little whatever. It does not matter. We do not judge you no matter how much you have or have not done with and or for us. We like you all the same.
Right.
Simple as that. We appreciate every little 2-minute listen for that matter. So, yeah, simple. Or even if you've just listened to that little trailer we put up, 16, 17 weeks ago? Somewhere around there?
19 weeks ago to be exact.
Oof, dang. We appreciate that. So, and that was a 33, 36 second trailer that we just kind of came up with on the spot.
What?
What the hell? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and I mean, now we're going to get into, we heard Zach's top 5.
Yeah.
Great top 5.
Yeah.
I love how he put that towards this movie, that if you don't like a strong dialogue film, you're not going to really like Fences.
Which
is true. It's very true. And you're going to see my top 5 compared to your top 5.
Are differences.
I favor a little bit more of the dialogue.
Yeah.
When I can get into it, when my daughter's not, screaming on me or trying to climb me like, King Kong climbing the damn
Empire State Building. Yo.
But both of our lists are completely different, which is cool. So we're going to go ahead and get into our top 5. My honorable mention this week is Zach's number 1, and that was The Magnificent Seven. That movie, first off, I kind of like westerns.
Yeah.
I really liked Unforgiven. I really liked True Grit. I enjoyed the John Wayne True Grit movie.
In all honesty,
Hondo.
When it comes to westerns, for me, I like the older shows, like
Gunsmoke.
There's another one, but one of my favorites is Have Gun Will Travel.
Oh.
Paladin. Oh my god. Oh man, because honestly, my grandparents, 100%, because it's from, I want to say 57 to 61 or 62, so it was black and white. It had some color at the end of its time as well, but Richard Boone, that's a name more than likely you probably haven't heard of, but I mean, that guy, Paladin, Mexican looking dude that gone around, and he had high morals, he had a damn good aim, and he was a shooter. I mean, dude he had draw tactics. But Gunsmoke, there's another one. There's tons of them back then, and I'm not going to go on a list and start ranting and raving, but I mean, it doesn't matter if it's from a TV series or from the silver screen adaptation of it. I would love to see a Paladin movie, for that matter. And honestly, they were talking about having one with all freaking people, Eminem being Paladin. Of all freaking people. It was kind of just like, are you serious? But yeah, back in 2012, 2013, there were talks of that. I haven't heard much from it then, but we'll see. But I kind of doubt it, but hey. But, Westerns are a little bit of a dying breed, far and few between. But sometimes when they come out, forgive my reference, but guns blazing. I mean, honestly, dead eye and all.
Also, I'll go ahead and put that in as my honorable mention, which is The Magnificent Seven. Also starring Chris Pratt. Ethan Hawke is on there. We've talked about Ethan Hawke lately. So that's my honorable mention. Do you have one, or do you want to just give me your top
honestly,
five?
I would say that I have one. Equalizer 2.
Oh, okay.
I liked.
I recently checked that out. I haven't seen it yet, but I recently bought it. And, I'm going to probably check that out this weekend.
Truthfully, I like a lot of action films. And I don't like purely action films, but I like the ones that are good, because I like choreography. I know how to handle a firearm, so I definitely liked when correct firearm tactics or strategy is used. I love to watch the UFC. I like wrestling as well. I'm not as big into it as you are, definitely, but I do like the sport. I think it's pretty cool and a very great talent and practice to have.
It's an athletic theater.
Yeah, basically. But when a good choreographed fight scene is on, like tons of stuff Jackie Chan did, amazing stuff. And he did a bit of wire fu or wire kung fu, but the guy can do a lot of it in real life too. A ton of it. Bruce Lee, perfect guy. Chuck Norris, pretty dang good. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't matter how big or how small you are. Bruce Lee was 5'4", 145 pounds, soaking wet with 2 bricks in his pocket, each for that matter. So the dude was small, but I guarantee you he could probably whoop almost everybody's ass.
Yeah.
If he was fresh 1-on-1, he gonna whoop your ass. But
so yeah. Your honorable mention would be
Equalizer 2.
Equalizer 2. So leading into your number 5, what do you have for your number 5?
This one is a little bit of a. I'm not saying I didn't like this as much as the other 4, but Training Day. Training Day is a fantastic movie. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat Denzel when he was not in his prime, because I still feel like he's in his prime with just watching Fences today,
right? And
the Equalizer 2. I think that as an actor, he's still kicking ass, taking names.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. But he's one of those kind of rarities, if you will, that he's lasted since he was mid-20s, maybe early 20s for that matter, as in on just being out in the limelight.
He's been in for a little over 35, almost close to 40 years.
So boom,
he got his first nomination for Golden Globe 30 years.
Yeah, and
30 years ago,
he's still getting them to this. Probably even I don't know about this season coming up, but at least last season, 2 seasons ago. So
yeah. Number 5 for me is going to be Flight.
Oh yeah.
When he was kind of a little bit on the sauce and flying those planes and had that accident. To me, it's just you kind of feel for the character, but then Denzel just blows it out of the water, and it's just an amazing story.
He was on a little bit of the sauce in this movie too.
Yeah, a lot of these movies, to be honest with you. And number 4 for you?
Number 4, I'm gonna have to go with the original Equalizer. Not very old of a film, but when it came out and he was timing his kills and timing how he would go throughout the entire room and kill 10 guys in 26 seconds and not really have a scratch on him, it was amazing. I thought it was kind of a John Wick-esque deal in both these. I think those two are actually kind of competition with each other, as in action movies, hardcore killers, a little bit different in each aspect of why they kill or how they kill, but roughly the same type of killer. Honestly, assassins.
Number 4 for me is going to be Philadelphia. I talked about this movie 2 weeks ago. I talked about this movie last week. It's just such a powerful movie. Zach talked about it. Philadelphia is just so powerful. Another heavy dialogue film. Tom Hanks won Best Actor in this movie, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Number 3 for you.
I've got to say, probably he actually mentioned this as well. Book of Eli.
Yes. Good movie.
I loved it. I really thought it was a good movie. I didn't even really understand that he was blind for a little bit.
Yeah.
First time I actually watched it, I didn't even get to watch the beginning. I came in about 20, 30 minutes in. So, I definitely didn't know shit about it.
Yeah.
And she I found out, this dude's blind. It was, it even more so for that matter.
Right.
Mila Kunis did fine in it. She did exceptional.
A little challenging, too, to try to be an actor and act like you're blind and go through some of those scenes like that, probably.
Yeah, and definitely with the choreography of the fighting, because we as usual humans rely on all of our senses,
right?
And I know it's with me. I have vision problems. We rely a lot on vision. Seeing is believing, basically, for us. So when that sight's taken from you, I don't personally know how it feels, but I can imagine it is detrimental. And then your of course other senses kick in a little bit more for you.
Right.
But he took it to a whole nother aspect.
Number 3 for me is going to be Malcolm X. It's a little bit of a lengthy film. Again, more heavy in the dialogue. Directed by Spike Lee.
Yeah.
It's a Spike Lee joint. Enjoyed everything about Malcolm X. If you guys are into that film, definitely check it out. That kind of story, based on a true story, obviously, and the way it ended definitely was definitely what was wrong with America at that time.
Yeah.
Still have problems like that too today. Number 2 for you.
Number 2 for me is going to be Remember the Titans. Reaching in the bag a little bit with that, but I thought he did wonderfully in that role. It's kind of hard to. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's kind of hard to think of a good football movie and not think of that, or even Rudy.
Oh no, that's one of my top 5 football movies. Remember the Titans. The way he portrayed a coach in that movie is the way you want your coach to act.
Which, the only thing I didn't like was how I kind of thought it sucked with, the racial segregation between it. But, it was part of the times, unfortunately.
Exactly.
So, with that, I get it. But, yeah, definitely that'd have to be my number 2, honestly.
Number 2 for me is going to be the film we covered today, and that's going to be Fences. I think we put it over enough. I don't think I have to explain my number 2. I enjoyed it. I loved it. What's number 1 for you?
Man on Fire. Now, I'm not saying Fences isn't in this, but it's just like,
right.
It's a new movie.
You thought the performances were great.
Oh yeah.
You enjoyed the movie, but like you said, you're not into those kind of heavy dialogue movies.
Yeah.
You prefer the more action type movies, which is perfectly fine.
Because I'll watch it every now and then, but it's not gonna be like, I'm bored on a Sunday night, this is what I want to watch.
Right.
Why? Just because, But
Man on Fire is definitely very good.
Yeah.
He also used that as well.
Yeah.
And then number 1 for me is going to be the movie that he won an Oscar in, which was Training Day.
Yeah.
Starring Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a movie we'll cover one day. But that's a tremendous movie.
Yeah.
He deserved the Oscar for that. He deserved the Oscar for a lot of other movies, but Training Day to me is, when he gets on top of that car, he lets people know.
Yeah. Shit's going down.
Yeah, that movie definitely hits home. Enjoyed that movie. Man, I tried the purple one today, and I could not get over it.
Oh yeah. Tell me, stuff's good.
The Killer Grape from Rockstar is amazing. I think that's gonna be my go-to energy drink every day.
All right. So led you to a little bit of inspiration, and it panned out, huh?
Yeah. I'm inspired, man. Rockstar Energy Drink is designed for those who lead active lifestyles. Available in over 20 amazing flavors in over 30 countries.
Which is awesome. Definitely awesome that they've got a lot of variety out there. Definitely awesome that they actually put out to a lot of countries.
Oh yeah.
So always a great thing to get your words out there and your inspirations out there for that matter.
So when you need a quick pick-me-up. And not to mention, it's also pretty cheap.
Yeah.
It's one of those energy drinks that you're not going to spend $3-4 on for one drink.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of your local 7-Elevens, On Q's, Walmarts, they have your Rockstars 2 for $3.
Yeah.
So go check it out. Have you a Rockstar today, and get where you need to go fast.
Get those finals through.
Now, as we finish up today's episode, you know, it was all about Fences. The performances were great. The story was amazing. If you had, you know, which we do at the end of every show, we're going to give it a star rating. What would your star rating be for this episode?
I would put it at an 8.5.
8.5 is high.
Strong.
And for those who don't know, go ahead and let people know what a strong 8.5 is for you.
To me, a strong 8.5 is that's like the bare minimum that I'd give it. As in, you know, I definitely could give it a 9 or maybe even a little higher. I just wanted to see a few more things from how he passed, which, I mean, they did explain that, but I just wanted to see. I wanted to see, you know, if him and the boy had reconciled, Corey had reconciled their differences, because, I mean, you know, just a few little frayed loose ends, I guess you could say. But definitely not mad at the movie. I can't say anything bad about it. I mean, honestly, I can just say that I didn't prefer all the dialogue, but that's me. So, I mean, if you're into a deep movie, or if you're into a dialogue-heavy movie, for that matter, definitely check this thing out. It's, even if you're not, check it out. It's going to be a good watch. It's going to be a good, heartfelt, emotion-driven movie that is going to leave you probably about to cry if you really get into it. So yeah, I agree. If I give it, say I give it an 8.5 soft, that means that's the max I would go. Basically, like 8.5 is probably gonna top it for me.
Okay, so. I can definitely see that. I'm gonna give it a strong 9.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 9. It's something that I could probably check out if I had to, once a week, if I had to. I like Zach was saying earlier, like we've touched on before in the past, it's a 2-hour and 15-minute movie, and it feels like it goes by in an hour and a half.
Yeah, it definitely does. It does not drag.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a couple parts that do, but I mean, it's kind of for story purposes,
right.
Which I can accept that 100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely does not drag. That's I've got to say, I'll say that as a key point with this. I think it's a great point that it doesn't drag.
Yeah, I mean, that's a definitely good point, but I mean, I think that's gonna put a wrap on the show for us. You know, next week we talked about doing some. I think we're gonna do the Christmas episode.
All right.
Next week we're gonna talk some Christmas movies. We're gonna talk our top 5 Christmas movies. We're going to talk some, we're going to talk why Christmas movies, why it's so important to watch some of those this time of year. We'll dig into that next week. A lot of you are going to start having a, couple, 3, 4, 5 day weekend next week.
Yeah.
So what better way to, enjoy your weekend than spending it with the Cine-Men Movie Podcast? We have...
Catch up on all our active archive.
Yeah, check us out. We have a Facebook. It is facebook.com/moviereels405. That's at movie REELZ 405. We have a perfect 5 out of 5 recommended by everybody that's coming in contact with us. We thank you. Man, check us out. You can leave us voicemails, text messages, call us at 405-590-5711. You can email us. Email us at Cine-Men, CINEMEN 921 @gmail.com. We have a YouTube channel. So go to our Facebook page, click the Learn More. That'll send you to the YouTube channel. This podcast, pretty much, we break down all kinds of movies, discuss entertainment, movie news, big box office juggernauts, and we drop our top 5 every week. last week's episode, which is available in the archives on Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts, you can check us out pretty much there. Just search Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
Go ahead and click that subscribe button. And on YouTube, see that little, yeah, that one. The little bell button on that left side. Go ahead and tap that bell button. That'll let you know any upcoming videos. Once we drop that video, it will automatically get a notification ringtone onto your phone and lead you straight to us.
Wow.
So, go ahead and hit that. We'll wait for just like 3 seconds. Alright, thank you. We appreciate that. But, any closing thoughts?
Man, closing thoughts on this episode. Just, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a little bit more in-depth, which is what I wanted.
Yep.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you go check out Fences. It's definitely a good watch. A great watch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We will talk to you guys next week. As I know that we are going to discuss Christmas movies.
Yes.
We might even have, an extra bonus top 5 list, maybe.
I don't know.
We might discuss it, but we might have a bonus top 5 list of things we never got for Christmas.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll
so,
see.
Have you been a good boy this year, Edward?
I'm always a good boy.
This is gonna be it for us, ladies and gentlemen. So,
this is Edward signing out.
And this is Johnny. Johnny be good. Johnny be bad.
Johnny, who the fuck knows?
Anyway, this is it for us this week. Thank you for joining us for the Fences episode. We will see you next week as we discuss our Christmas movies next week on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. We'll see you next week, December 22nd, for the Christmas episode. You guys have a good week. And don't forget to check us out. Facebook.com, search Movie Reels 405. Movie Reels, REELZ 405. Check us out at the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.